Hello, everybody. Here we are at Laser Brains. We'll talk about Empire Records.
The silence is crazy.
Okay.
Why would you say it like that?
Why would you say it like that?
You knew. Okay, so here we are joined by our co-host, Champion.
Hi. Hey, Mike.
Oh, hey.
We're here to talk
Champion.
about Empire Records.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
We have a lot to say about this movie. We're also joined by Ryan, Empire Records fan.
Hey, Ryan.
Big fan. How's it going?
Yes. And the person that chose this movie,
Hi.
Caitlin. And I have to say, Caitlin, I got to give you credit. We had about, 20 people or more out tonight. This is a pretty big crowd.
I don't mean to brag when I say sometimes I recommend movies and sometimes a lot of people come out to them here, but I'm just saying it's a sign that you need to give me more power.
That could
and
be.
less responsibility, though.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Just putting it out there.
Caitlin,
Yeah. Michael.
why did you pick this movie? No. No.
Here we go again.
No.
It's funny how people phrase it like
I know.
that.
I know. No, what? Yeah. But okay, in all seriousness, so Caitlin, tell us why you chose this film for movie night at Meteor.
Well, Michael, I looked at the calendar one day and I said, this April 8th, you know what would be really great to celebrate Rex Manning Day at? I think it would be great to celebrate it in public for all to see and witness and undergo the amazingness of this movie. I say with like a really shaky smile.
No,
like,
but it's funny because to be fair, I think you told me about this months ago.
I did. I
And
approached
then-
you and I
yes.
said, I don't know what you have planned.
Right.
But I'm just saying the stars are aligned. It's on a Wednesday.
Yep.
I think this has to happen. Just it's a cult classic, and we've had some beloved '90s
Sure.
ones being shown, like The Burbs and stuff. So I thought, you know what? Throw it out there.
Sure.
Sometimes you guys take my requests, and you graciously do so because sometimes I give ones like this.
Well,
Which
and,
so-
and it's funny because Ian looked at the calendar and it said Empire Records.
Must screen.
Yes,
Must.
there in brackets must screen. And it's been on there for months, so we knew this was coming.
This
We
has
didn't
been-
tell you, but we knew it was coming.
And every time I'd scroll through the calendar, I'd see this. I'm like, why must we screen this?
Yes.
I never asked them.
Yeah,
And it felt so weird. Out of everything that we have
because
on
of
the
Rex
list.
Manning Day.
Because of Rex Manning Day.
We'll look at the lineup we have after too as well. We got quite a show of some sci-fis out here as well. But we're gonna break it up with a
Rex
cult
Manning
classic.
loves sci-fi.
Of
Yes, yes, we
Empire
are.
Records.
And it worked.
And it
So
worked.
here's the thing: is I guess this movie was a bigger deal than I realized because Nicole came cosplay tonight,
Yes.
and we've also got another guy here that kind of is. Where did you get that shirt?
I made it. Come on now.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
Cost me
Okay.
$1 million.
Really?
No.
Million
Yeah,
bajillion.
it's Rex Manning Day. What do you mean? What's the shirt?
I just
Why
didn't
would you
re-
phrase
I
it like that?
I don't
Michael?
think Champion and I realized how much of a cult classic this movie was, right? Because
definitely
clearly we had at least 10-ish people come out specifically for this movie.
I was
So-
surprised.
It's a bigger movie than we thought.
We may have just been born in the wrong era
Could
to
be.
have noticed this movie.
So okay, let's talk about that. So Ryan, when was the first time you saw this movie?
If not the year it came out, the year after, for sure. Like I remember specifically, it must have been the year it came out.
And
'Cause
you
I
were
was like I was
okay.
like grade 8, grade 9. I was 13ish.
Okay.
So this is
Caitlin, you were a babe when this came out.
It was
right?
but a twinkle in my father's eye
Okay.
when this movie came out.
Okay.
I was
Anyways.
a bit along towards the future at that rate.
Okay.
But the first time I saw this one was, I want to say closer to 2-3 years ago, maybe.
Oh wow. Okay.
And this is probably around like my 5th or 6th time watching it.
Okay.
That's all I really got. I can't say that I was around to see it when it came out, but seeing how much people love it as a cult classic, I'm like, you know what? Dudes rock.
But you just saw it and it just clicked with you.
It clicked. I don't know what it was about it that I'm like, oh, this is fun. But also, I was that kid that would constantly, like, I collected a lot of physical media.
Sure.
From like grade 6, I got like my first record player to beyond. And I would always, like, every time I go to the mall, like, even to this day, I still go and I'm like, oh, Sunrise Records. Like back when it was HMV, I would
Sure.
still peek in there. I think with like physical media, it just was very dear to me. And I'm like, you know what? I've always wanted to work on a record store.
Sure.
And what better way to imagine that when you have such a beloved cast over here where everybody is really hot for some reason. And it's like, all we do
That's
is just
true.
head around, do nothing. And what do we do all day? Just play music and vibe. I'm like, you know what? I'd like to do that at work. I mean, I kind of do,
Yeah.
but
I hear you. Okay, so Champion, I'm going to tell you because you're the last person to see this movie because I
Yes.
did see it in 1995.
Did you go to the theater to see it?
No, I saw it on video. I remember the first time I watched it. I watched it with a group of my friends.
Did you rent it at Blockbuster? Did you make it a Blockbuster night?
It might have been pre-Blockbuster. It might have been like
Jumbo.
Ion or Jumbo or Applause or one of those. But I saw it with a group of my friends, and everybody loved it except me.
Wow.
This guy.
Yeah, except this guy. I'm sorry. It was the beginning of my Marshall Falcine phase where I was a movie snob. I was a movie snob, and
Glad you said it.
this was during the phase of me like just hating everything. And like I kind of liked Clerks. I loved High Fidelity, which came later. But this movie, I really felt like it was just too, like it was a corporate version of this idea. And so I felt like all the characters were one-dimensional and stereotypes. And so then, what's 1995? 30? 31 years ago?
Yeah. 30, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I thought, okay, maybe I'll like it more this time.
Gross.
But looking through the eyes of Champion, tell
That's
us, what did you think for the first time seeing it tonight?
Well, all right. I'm a product of this era,
Yeah.
right? Like this movie was released in 1995. I was in first year university in 1995. So this movie was aimed squarely at me, like at me. And I was a bit of an alternative kid. I was in bands and shit back then in high school and university. Never worked at a record store. But this movie felt kind of unrecognizable in terms of tone, not so much visually. Visually, it was very much 90s. But in terms of tone, in terms of what the characters were doing, it was just a bunch of vapid, one-dimensional, very, very shallow people. And
Tell us how you really feel, Ian.
I really feel like that. And I got the sense that this was a movie about this culture that was written by a bunch of studio executives who had some kids that maybe liked music, and they thought that maybe that gave them an inside track. They had a budget for an incredible soundtrack. I mean, I was talking to Mike when we were at the credits. Somebody told me it was 3 soundtracks.
Get out of here, really.
But when you get to the part where they're scrolling through all the songs, it just goes on and on and on. I'm like, this is why they made the movie. So that they could get these songs out there, and that's it. That's the only reason. It was a vehicle for some of these bands to get noticed. And everything else is just in service of that, and everything else feels tacked on.
Yeah. I was sorry. I almost lost my train of thought there. I almost cut you off at some point.
You can cut me off.
No, but like that's looking back and watching this as it goes. Like it's no by means a perfect movie whatsoever. By far, absolutely not. But I noticed like watching this, I'm like, wow, they really do bank on a lot of just here's us dancing, here's us having fun. Oh my god, don't you wish you were us? And then it's like, okay, here's a little mini plot point as a little treat for you. But let's go back to the dancing after. So I get that.
Like the point where Joe locks himself in the office and just starts playing drums
drums.
out of nowhere. And then they have a dance party.
Isn't he the coolest boss ever, though?
Look,
How many bosses get to do that?
here's the. I think here's it because have you seen Clerks?
like a little bit.
Okay.
Like a little bit.
I don't think it's a masterpiece or anything, but to me, one of the things about these types of movies is that you have to have the contrast, even in High Fidelity, of like you have like the music snob like Jack Black, then you have the kind of neutral guy, which was John Cusack, but you have to have the contrast of the normal people, which is usually the customers. And in this movie, there wasn't really that contrast. So when they're dancing, somehow they all pair off with customers.
Yeah.
And they just play along with it. Then when they have the funeral for the girl, they're in the back room for like 20 minutes. And at least if they would have showed like a customer looking for help or something, but it's just so far removed from reality that it's almost like a musical, but not a musical. You know, like if they would have started singing and dancing in unison, it would have fit. but they didn't do that. So it just felt like, okay, is this supposed to be real or is it not? And even from, because I was watching it trying to be objective, and even from the first opening scene of that one guy in that little room going through all the paperwork,
Yes.
I felt like if you were to do like a rewrite of the movie, you should have 5 minutes of day in the life of the record store. Then he finds out it's being sold. So you open up the movie in this weird, like kind of back room, and then there's so much of the opening that's in that room. It feels claustrophobic, and it doesn't even feel like it's really utilizing the premise as good as it could. But that's the least of its problems. You know, and then okay, let's talk about these characters. Okay, so first, tell us who's your favorite character in the movie. Who did you feel like you related to, or could identify with?
Probably Mark. I feel like
Which one?
Mark.
It's awesome.
Which with a curly little haired little guy who just sits in front of the TV eating
Mark
brownies.
with a K.
Mark with a K.
Oh, the red-
with a C.
Okay.
Yeah, our little maniac there.
Okay.
who
Yeah.
is trying to run the store at certain
Yeah.
points, but then also just kind of appears places like with the rest of his fellow employees who are doing nothing whatsoever. Mark, really just funny little antic guy. No particular reason. I just feel like I just don't think I can relate to any of the other characters.
Okay.
Despite me wearing a Liv Tyler type skirt.
Okay. Okay.
Despite me cosplaying.
Right.
No.
Was I the only person to get some Matthew Lillard vibes from this Mark
That's
character?
exactly what it is, though.
100%.
I thought that immediately, like rewatching this. I'm like, oh my god, what are his mannerisms reminding me of? And I'm like, no, it's giving like Stu from like Scream, or like Shaggy from
This might
Scooby
have
Doo.
been-
Which is interesting for me because that's your favorite character here, and you also recommended Scooby Doo was your pick as well.
Yes.
Do I have like a niche or like
You might.
a little bit?
Was this the same year as Scream or the year before?
Oh,
95? It might have been. I don't know. But anyway,
must
I
have
think
been
Scream was 94.
Really?
Wasn't it?
I thought it was 96, but it's around the same time.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about him. I just thought he was an over actor. And he
oversells it.
yeah, he's too pretty, and like he's like, let's get this good-looking guy to act like a goof, but he's not a goof.
Matthew
He's
Lillard.
acting like a goof, and that's why he didn't work for me. You know what I mean? I'm trying to be nice about it, but I just, I just,
Speak your truth.
yeah, that's what I felt. Like, what did you think, Ian?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say Matthew Lillard again because that's all that I
Yeah.
got from that character. It's like, is he trying to be him or is that who that is? And I'm just not
I'm trying to
getting
place
it.
that actor somewhere else, though. And he made a couple movies in and around that
Okay.
time. But yeah, Lillard-ish.
He was in Sweet Home Alabama. I found that out the other day watching with my parents. I'm like, that's Mark. That's Mark.
That's Reese with this.
And they're like, and my friends are like, who? I'm like, don't worry about it. Come to Meteor on Wednesday.
Yeah, there you go.
And they didn't. So
And I wonder why.
But that's still you, Ian.
that's all. Is that so me? Yeah. Well, that's
Keep it
that's all.
going.
That's all I got. That's my impression of him was
Okay.
just is this
Okay,
this
yeah, I
other
mean,
guy.
we get a
And-
lot of actors to talk
Yeah,
about.
it's,
So, yeah.
none of the actors really jumped out at me, and it's interesting that that's your favorite because he's one of my favorites too, just because he's one of the only characters that stood out in any way, and
Ryan-
not necessarily in the best way either.
Yeah,
it's
well,
like I
he
can
was-
identify him, so I like him.
He was near the bottom for me, but I'll get to the rest of it in a minute. But Ryan, what'd you think of him?
I liked this character. He was, again, this is someone alluded to like the 80s had their things, whatever. This was a bit of a 90s cult kind of whatever, feel good teenage movie. They had to make it relatable and they had to have the certain characters in place. And I don't really know where Mark fits in. Like he wasn't a stereotypical, like falls into this like stamp. He's that guy. He's not a jock. He's not a dork. He's not a whatever's. And that's why I like him as well. He comes in a close second. For me, it was Lucas because
Which one's Lucas?
Lucas is the guy that
Turtleneck.
lost the money, stole the money, whatever.
Oh, okay.
Because he did the cool thing. I don't know, breaking the fourth wall, whatever. He was talking to people.
Sure.
Introducing the movie, and then he sets the craziness in motion. Like he does the first dumb, stupid, irresponsible, crazy thing, and then it's just a series of unfortunate, stupid events that just makes it crazier and crazier throughout the film. And that's why I like him because they alluded to what do you call him, the Chinese guy in the Karate Kid. Like why
Oh,
are
yeah.
you being that way?
Yeah.
He's all mysterious and trying to be philosophical, and that's why I liked him. He was batshit crazy basically by the end.
Okay, here's the thing: is that actor was also in Dazed and Confused. Have you seen Dazed and Confused?
Half of it.
Okay.
I can't speak
You
on
know who
it.
he was?
Yeah, stoner with the long hair,
stoner
yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
Ian, you've seen Days Confused, right?
Like 30 years ago.
Okay, he was the stoner guy.
Yeah.
I loved him in Days Confused, but in this movie, I thought he was overacting. But now that I know it's the same actor, I kind of also think he might have been overacting in Days Confused. But in this movie, yeah, he was okay, but still overacting a little bit, I thought. So I didn't love him. What do you think?
Yeah, I didn't like him at first, and then I sort of warmed up to him, and then I didn't like him again at the end. When he broke the fourth wall at the end there, I was like, no. But he was written with this sort of ennui, this fuck everything. But it comes across like he's trying too hard to not try. And this is, again, where I think the movie doesn't know what it's doing. It knows what it wants to do. It knows that it wants to get that sort of slacker energy. But everyone's running around too much and being too energetic to have that proper 90s slacker energy.
Good point.
But can I ask about the montage / chase scene where he's tracking down? He went outside the store, which would never have had happened ever.
Oh,
in real
the
life.
track down,
absolutely
And he
not.
tracks down the
shoplifter?
shoplifter, like, and does all the weird
That's-
stuff about how he's around. He's almost like Jason or like Freddy,
Yeah.
like around every corner, everywhere you look.
That
I
would
love
that
that sequence.
It's a great sequence.
Yeah.
And it would have been a perfect sequence for someone like Matt, who was actually a little bit spun,
Yeah.
and you could see like poking up, behind parked cars
Mark.
and shit.
Mark.
Did I say Matt?
Yeah. I
All
was
right,
like,
Mark is what I meant.
Like we're going back to Matthew
Because
Lillard.
he's crazy and hyper
that's
and weird.
Matt
Matt,
Lillard,
Mark.
aka Mark. No, this Lucas guy. They were. I think they were trying to write him as like the sort of lazy loser. So don't have him be the guy running around trying to chase the shoplifter, even though it makes sense for him to do it because he's trying to get back in Joe's good books, but it doesn't fit his.
You want to
kinda
save
like,
those 5 CDs.
Fuck this, man. Everything's fucking.
Yeah.
He doesn't get up and run around. I don't know.
What did you think, Caitlin, of
Lucas?
Yeah.
See, I kind of would like very first watch like similar vibes as Ian in the sense that I was like, this guy's like just a fuck up, isn't he? Like over here, like there is some like I don't want to say like context or whatever, but it's just little tidbits thrown in there where it's like, oh, like Joe took me in or whatever, and like this is like I'm essentially like paying him back and stuff, and it's like that's cute, but it just feels very underdeveloped. That's the thing is like, and you were saying one dimensional, and I'm like, I hate to say one dimensional because it feels like they try and utilize these characters for so many things, like Lucas in the chase scene, but it's also like it's not developed enough where it's like, oh, I can see this character being like full flesh and stuff. Like the leading into like with Liv Tyler, her name is Corey. What am I saying? Corey and Gina. Same with those. Is like, oh, we have background on like these type of girls, but then they just kind of sprinkle in the fact like, oh, by the way, she's on speed. By the way,
Yeah.
like this is her lore, and I'm like, this feels just really not sprinkled in, but it feels like, hey, we slam the gavel down. Here's your lore. I'm like, okay, that came in a little too much.
That's a great point because someone in last call said that this was like Breakfast Club, but I think Breakfast Club was much better in my opinion.
Orders of magnitude better.
Yeah.
Although you could see the areas where they were trying to riff.
Yes.
Yes,
And
100%.
you mentioned like, okay, this girl does speed, but there was absolutely no foreshadowing or setup.
There
Well,
was
she
like
took a
maybe a
pill.
singular pill, but
Okay.
even then, I'm like, that's a vitamin C.
Yeah,
she
but-
must be sick.
But at least with Breakfast Club, the characters were very defined from the moment you saw them, and
Yes.
everything they did would kind of fit in with what they were. And in this movie, it felt like you just said, it's like we're just gonna tack on this thing to this character, and that's her character.
We
And
need-
they seem to tack them on randomly too. It's like
Yeah.
it's like a kid telling a story and he's all over the place. He's like, "Oh yeah, and also she's a speed addict."
Right.
And that's like you're halfway through your story and you just drop that on us.
Yeah.
Like we should. Oh, I forgot to tell you that.
See, I have to disagree on that point specifically with Corey. I feel like it was like ADHD, like Squirrel, like with the talking about all the characters. But how much can you really do in an hour and a half, 2 hours, right? It's
But
difficult.
Breakfast Club was the same length, and it did it.
Yeah,
Cut down on the
small-
dancing is what you do.
Yeah,
yeah.
smaller
There was dancing
group.
in Breakfast Club. Yes.
Smaller group. They had the 4 or 5 like the stereotypes in the 80s high school, whatever. This one was a bit off the wall and kind of all over the place. But I think her character, if anything, was the most developed and most kind of backstory. She gets picked up by her friend in that cool little Mog or whatever they're called, like those old weird German Jeep truck things, whatever. So she was like cool hipster, whatever truck. But she picks her up in front of like white picket fence, colonial home,
Okay,
flowers,
yeah.
whatever's. Then they get to work. And then she does that. At one point, you can see when she's stressed out, she reaches for the thing that could have been M&Ms and she pops a big white pill and they focus on it. Then when she's at the desk, her daddy drops off flowers to say, to my 1999 Harvard grad, yada, yada. So if anything, she had all of these little cookie crumbs leading up to that. Whereas everyone else is like, oh yeah, she's the whore. He's the artist kid. He's a weirdo. It was just like, she was the only one with like little points of.
Okay. I'll
Of
give
kind
you
of backstory.
that. But and to be fair,
I have seen it 20-something times. So.
yeah,
I was like, for a first time-ish watcher, also, however, I can see where
Yeah.
that kind of gets glossed
comes
over.
out of
real
nowhere.
quickly. Yeah, I get that.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think her character was fine and her acting was okay. There was nothing bad about her acting. I actually like her as an actress. She's okay. But I did think overall the characters were pretty thin. So let's jump to Renee Zellweger's character. Gina.
Yes.
Her character was that she was promiscuous.
Yes. I'm trying to remember any other lore about her besides the fact that she just kind of is like, hey, love hooking up with guys, including Rex Manning.
Rex Manning. Which was weird because even though I've seen this twice, I kind of thought that something surprising would happen. Like maybe she would almost do it, but not do it. But then they just did it. And then it was weird the way, but they didn't explain when they came out. It was like, that was a weird scene, right?
It was, and it just popped in my mind what also, like, when I was touching on, like, and then we just have more lore sprinkled on, like, when she started talking about her mom, and then she started talking about, like, I've always wanted to sing, like, being, like, in a band or whatever, and I'm like, that got thrown in, and then they just use that excuse to throw her into the next scene, where she's performing, and she's having a good old fancy time up there, performing with Coyote Shivers, so I'm like, okay, thank you again for some lore that just, again, maybe it was sprinkled in there, but also I don't know. I didn't really see any build up to that besides I'm going to sing. And I'm like, you go, Gina.
It's another example that, I forgot. And also this. Also, she likes to sing.
She's full-fledged. Yeah. Look what she wants to do. She has interests.
There's still time left in this movie for more lore, isn't there?
Renee Zellweger. And then other than that, that's kind of it, right? Like she argued... Did she argue with Liv Tyler or the other girl? I don't remember.
Liv Tyler
over lunch or whatever.
Got a little into a little bit of an insecurity match between the two because she craves what Corey has.
Right. But other than that, there wasn't really much to her. Okay, so on to the next. We might as well talk about the girl with the shaved head. Who's she? Deb. Okay, I actually didn't mind her. I thought that she was okay. Her character was like, when she was like hiding in that little room doing the paperwork, I at least thought that was okay. That's somewhat, it feels like something someone like that would do. Yes. I didn't mind that. And her character was probably the darkest, but it also didn't feel artificial. It felt like the most grounded. What did you think, Ian?
That's the one character that I felt I most resonated with in terms of like a peer from that era, right?
Right.
And specifically that scene when she's in that little booth, kind of just sitting on the ground, just sort of working on okay, this makes sense. This is a person. Some of the stuff that they had her doing, right? Like shaving her head for no reason. Like there's a reason, but it's back before the movie starts.
To help you resonate more.
We never learn about it. I don't. Again, they don't understand what they're doing. They're just saying, "Oh, she's crazy. She's shaving her head. Oh, she's suicidal. She's depressed." These things are all tacked on. But her as a character, the things that she was doing and saying worked more than anyone else, I think.
Yeah, and I felt like the actress fit, like, whereas the guy playing the redhead kid, he felt like he was acting like a goof. This girl felt like she was embodying the role. Like she felt like she wasn't acting. It was really her. I'm not saying I know that she was like that, but she came across as realistic.
Aside from the boss, she was definitely the most grown-up character. Like the most mature, well-rounded, like you said, best acted, best thought out kind of role.
Right.
I'm also very biased because I've been recently watching her in The Mentalist, which I think that show was like 2008-ish or so.
Okay.
But I remember starting it like about a month ago, and I was like, wait a minute, she looks familiar. I'm like, oh my god, she is Deb from Empire Records. And so
does she still have a shaved head in The Mentalist?
No. No. I was maybe I haven't finished it. Maybe she does shave it off at some point in the series, and we just don't know. But yeah, she felt very. I don't want to say like authentic for like lack of a better word, but authentic in the way that it's more fleshed out than like other characters where it's like, yeah, we can see into her problems a little bit more. Granted, they're I'm not saying like to diminish other problems of the people in the show, but it's like this one's a very dark one that occurs.
Right.
But there's also moments where you kind of see details that give more like when she's talking to I forget his name, the guy that's in the band, where she's like, it's not you, like it's just everything, like I'm thinking about like
Right.
yesterday, the day before and stuff. Just little stuff like that where I'm like, okay, that's how you give a character a little bit more of a build rather
Right.
than just make her a cardboard cutout of a 90s
Right,
persona type thing.
So the thing, okay, there's one more. The poster, we don't have the poster here, but there's some people who are not on the poster. I want to talk about. I think there's only one more person on the poster we haven't talked about, and that's the boss.
Joe.
I want to punch his hair in the face. Okay, I don't like other. Okay, he's okay. What did you think about him, Ian?
He didn't make any sense.
Okay.
Like he didn't make any sense.
That's so good.
I know that everyone's like they're all buddies, but $9,000 is a lot of money in 1995.
Yeah.
Adjusted for inflation, we're probably talking $30,000-$40,000.
Give or take.
Now, why does Joe not react? I know that he kind of beats him up a little bit, and he yells and he makes him sit on a couch for 4 hours. But why doesn't he send him home?
Or
He doesn't-
call the cops.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
right
like,
away.
I mean,
I don't
there's this whole like, is he
Yeah.
adopted by the boss? I'm not sure.
Because
about
later
this.
on, yeah, he kind of feels
Because
bad.
there's some other stuff that gets tacked on. It's like, oh, I was at the orphanage, and then Joe came and got me, and now I have a job at the record store. Still, you stole $9,000. I'd at least send you home, right? Like you're suspended
Bare
for
minimum.
a couple days while we figure this shit out. I don't get. No, and was the boss supposed to be a villain? Right? Was he supposed to be sort of like the antagonist? No, he's just another.
He was the dad.
He was, yeah, he
You know,
was.
Lord Ian made a point that it felt like an episode of a sitcom. And if you imagine this like a sitcom, it actually all makes more sense because in a sitcom,
He said that it was like a special episode.
yeah, like a
Christmas episode.
yeah, like
or
a
something.
Christmas episode or a vacation episode of a
I
sitcom.
overheard that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's exactly
That's
right.
a good
True.
one.
And in this movie, if you think about a sitcom, they can't get rid of any of the characters. So even though this guy stole $9,000, we're gonna keep him here on the couch because he has to be in the wide shot when we have all the other characters walk in and say their lines and then walk off, right? That's what it
Because in
felt
his
like.
contract, he says he has
Yeah.
to have at least this many lines.
Yeah, exactly, right?
I want to know who he didn't hire. Like, who else was at the interview besides
Right.
the rest of this cast and he turned away? I'm like, this is the best you got at this
Yeah.
rate? Which, yeah, fun times and stuff. We all get along and stuff, but well, most of us definitely really get along with Gina and so at the beginning. But it's also like, oh my word, like the roster's not rostering over here.
Okay, what about the kid that shoots them with a gun?
With a
His name's
revolver?
not
with a
effing Warren.
revolver, and then you find out that it was loaded with blanks. Okay, let's be clear. If that happened in 2026, he would be shot 58 times in the face.
He was a white kid. He'd be fine.
Oh, but yeah, you're right. If he was
Ooh,
black,
he
if he
went-
was
he went there.
white, okay. If it was ice, he'd be shot 58 times in the face. But seriously, like, there's all these people, like patrons in the store, and he's waving this gun around. Again, I know
Nobody reacts.
it's just a comedy, but everyone would be running for the hills. They'd be diving over things for shelter.
People were just ducking down in the aisles
like,
and stuff like, oh,
whoa,
there's
yeah.
3 customers who are just looking at him like, whoa, what's going on
Right.
over here?
And I'm sorry, I'm not totally up on American law, but the cops are like, "Well, he's a minor and he loaded with blanks. There's not much we can do." Yeah, there is. Like he would have gone to
Easily.
jail for a lot of things, you know.
I forgot, like, when he, because again, even though I've seen this like 5 or 6 times, I forget that he pops in kind of at the end and he's like, I work here. I'm like, how'd you get out so
Yeah,
quick?
I know exactly.
Put him in the jail cell
Exactly,
now.
exactly.
Who let him go? What is the justice system
know,
that's
right?
going on outside of Atlantic City?
Exactly.
What's going on?
You know what's funny though? I gotta admit, I do like
Thanks,
that actor.
Obama.
I actually like that actor. He was fine, right, for that
The
role.
the
Yeah, the
kid?
kid. He was fine for that role.
Yeah.
Right?
He was like he looked like he belonged in a commercial or something. Like you just
Whiny
he-
twerp number 2 got the part in Empire Records. How do you feel?
from a strong showing in a Life cereal commercial
Yeah.
or something from 2 years earlier.
Ryan,
Yeah.
you have a lot to say about this guy with the blanks.
My his name's not freaking Warren. Like I think like I've seen it so many times and I want to go back now again and watch every scene with him. And I don't think we ever get to learn his actual name
Yes.
because they end up giving the name tag and everything, so it's
okay.
hilarious.
Man.
But yeah,
Oh, that's
I
right,
just-
because he
and
says
they
his
say
name's
he-
Warren Beatty.
Yeah, Warren Beatty, yeah.
Right. I
Yeah.
forgot.
That just clicked in my brain right now. This very
Did
second.
it? I was waiting
Yeah,
for that.
I
I'm like,
forgot
there was
about
no
that.
mention of
not
this.
Warren?
I feel like again, I've seen it way too many times, but if you go back, like I think he's comedic relief, like perfectly timed in so many different instances of the movie. Like when stupid Rex walks in. I mean, sorry, Rex. When Rex and Jane walk in and they're like, "Oh yeah, how's it going? Yeah, Jane, everyone. Yeah, this is Rex Manning." He's like, "Me, Joe, you, Jane." Like no context. Where'd that come from? It was not deserved at all, but it was just fucking hilarious because it was like it got there was a bit of silence there because you knew none of the cool kids at the record store gave a crap about Rex Manning.
Sure.
And the 13-year-old dink, he was just like making an ass of himself. But then when they get into the is it the drums? The boss starts playing the drums. Again, he's just letting off steam, whips out his drum kit. He just gets in there and starts like thrashing and moshing on the stairs when he's being detained. They're waiting for the cops. Like it's just there's a number of times throughout the movie he's just like he's such a goofball. You're like, that's hilarious.
That scene right there sends me the most. Like when it's him playing the drums and they're outside moshing it outside the office because AJ keeps entering and out of the scene like a Muppet. Like he moves he only goes across the screen and back. Mark's at least on screen, and then you have Warren throwing up back there. But AJ's just going back and forth, and I'm like, that's Fozzie Bear making his way across the stage.
Gonzo maybe. Yeah.
Gonzo in the cannon type stuff, you know?
Right.
It made me giggle because I'm just picturing it. I'm giggling. I'm like, it's like a Jim Henson show.
Yeah, like that's the thing is he was funny. And that actually reminds me that I wanted to mention earlier, there was at least two people in the movie who they're not on the poster, so I forgot they existed. But there's like the long-haired guy that brings
The tall super stoner kid. What's his character?
Yeah.
Eddie.
Eddie.
But he was actually good. Like,
Yeah.
because you talked about earlier, Ian, you said that one of the characters felt like someone who would be your peer. Like that guy was like, oh yeah, I know that guy, Riverside.
You know what?
That guy felt
Right?
like he was in a different movie, and he
Yeah.
just kind of kept wandering into this one.
Yeah.
He was the voice of reason. Like he was the older guy. He was absolutely one of the senior more staff there. And I think if anything, he was like the master to Mark's Padawan. Like he was training.
Sure,
like, hey
yeah,
Mark, you're
yeah.
gonna be the new weird stoner kid, right?
Sure, yeah,
You're
yeah.
gonna take my spot. But yeah.
And he was good though. He was actually like he again didn't seem like he was acting. He was like that guy, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then there was another
I
guy.
wonder if he was acting, or if
Maybe-
he was just like hanging
Like
around the
let this
set.
guy
Like,
just come in
you
and say a couple lines.
guys making a movie?
But there was like at
Imagine
least okay. Then there was the other guy with
Burko was
kind of
the,
like the thick hair.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Barco.
Burko.
Something like that.
Burko.
He was
Deb's
fine.
boyfriend /
Yeah, he was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that wanted
he
to
was,
tell.
He was a guy.
yeah.
But you know what? He was the guy in the band at the end of the show. He was actually, what's his name?
Coyote Shivers.
Coyote Shivers. He's an actual musician. So he was like, if anything, he was like hired to be part of like the band or something, or like you just want a part. You want to be another guy in the
Okay.
record store because we don't really have any stereotypical parts. We want to just be another guy. Like here you go.
That's the
He was-
thing.
he was
Sometimes
weird.
with the supporting cast, like especially Eddie, like I liked him because he didn't try to be something that he's not. Like these other characters where they're like, yeah, we all have problems going on right now. Like I want to go to art school, like blah blah blah. And then there's Eddie, like he doesn't try to. They don't try and force anything on him. Granted, he is kind of more of a supporting character, but he knows. We know what he is.
Yeah.
He knows what he is. We're pretty damn set right there. Like let's just let him do his thing.
Mhm.
If it's being a stoner and giving brownies to Mark, so be it.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I feel like okay. Do you think Ian? There's a hidden like there's a way to spin this movie so it could be good or change the movie. Is there a good
No.
movie in there?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
This movie, to me, it seemed like an assemblage of little vignettes
Okay.
that were sort of stitched together with music and dancing, and nothing really led to the next thing.
That's
really.
true.
Partially because nothing really happens for most of it. Like I'm watching this movie and we're 45 minutes in, and I turned and I asked, like, has anything happened in this movie yet? And I don't think anything had happened. Like nothing had happened.
Right.
They'd gone to work and they're sort of like puttering around, having some conversations about who's the bigger whore. I don't know.
Right.
But no, nothing really happens until the very, very end when they randomly have a concert to try and save
Yeah.
the store.
Fundraiser,
And it's just like it comes out of, I have an idea. And he gets on camera and says, we're having a thing tonight. And then everyone comes. nothing leads to anything else. Nothing is really connected to anything else. It's just, let's have this scene where the boss plays drums and we all dance. Let's play this scene where we go to Atlantic City. Let's play this scene where we have a fight and we're rolling around. Let's chase a shoplifter. But there's no cohesion.
I think you're. That's the thing is, I'm not going to fault the movie for just having people hanging around, talking, and doing nothing. But like you said, if it at least would have been the most minor way to connect everything together, so that it was like, because this happened, because that happened, that happened. But everything was just too random, and like you said, vignettes, playing the drums, the dancing. It didn't connect together. It didn't really lead anywhere.
There's a lot of good vibes in this movie,
Yeah.
right? There's a lot of fun moments, but like I'm not saying that I didn't enjoy it, but in terms of this being a movie, I don't know if it quite lives up to that.
Right.
And I have to completely disagree.
Okay.
And everything you say, cut.
Yeah.
No, honestly, everything, all the reasons that you're like, you gotta get. We're just sitting here picking the movie apart, talking about it. But for every little thing that pisses somebody off or doesn't make any sense or doesn't work, that's kind of why I like it. Like this was a turn your brain off and just like enjoy it. This wasn't it wasn't an action film, it wasn't a war film, it wasn't a sci-fi, whatever. It was very kitschy, very cheesy, very whatever's, but again, not over the top, stupid, whatever, like goofball something or other movie. It was period correct. It was you said like it should have been directed towards me. I was the demographic for that. I think I was a demographic for that myself, because growing up, like everyone I know or knew back then, at least, wanted to be those kids. They wanted to be everyone at the record store. Yeah. They wanted that cool job. We talked about the Blockbuster thing. Like I was so obsessed with movies growing up. Like I either want to do that. Wasn't really into the music thing, but that would also be like my second choice for coolest spot. Always going to Music World, HMV, Sam the Record Man. You always wanted to work at one of those places. So I think this was like super genuine to that. Like these guys, they all got their dream job. They didn't give a shit. They're just goofing around. And when your manager is the guy that lets you steal $9,000 and just hops on his drums and it's like, I'm mad. That's the boss you want. So watching it again and again, I'm just like, yeah, like that was ideal. That's like growing up, I didn't want to be an astronaut or a firefighter or a doctor. I kind of wanted to be that guy. Like I wanted a cool job with, and again, they were a family. They were super tight knit, and they all had. And they were like, when you think about it, I'm going to go really deep here, and say they were like, I don't even know, like the Lost Boys, like Peter Pan's Lost Boys, kind of like like they were all vagrants. They were all weirdos. They all had their issues. The funeral scene was a bit cheese, but that's where they all one by one. You want character development? There you go. They all give you their origin story around there.
Oh
my mom was a high school whore. My dad wants me to be perfect.
This is my archetype. Oh yeah, well this is my archetype.
Did they ever say, hey, who's running the register? Or did they just kind of go back to everything?
There is somebody back running the register at the time.
Screaming for help me out.
Yeah, but then he comes back during the funeral, and then does anyone just say, hey, who's running the register right now? Or do we just let that slide?
that go.
I think that's a missed opportunity right there to be like, and who's running the register? And they just all look at Mark and he's just like.
But I've also, that's the other thing too. I've also worked jobs in and around that era too, which that my job could have been that one, or where I worked could have been that place where there's like no supervision. There's no one cares about the rules, whatever. So that's why, again, it's just like, it for me, it was more real and genuine and not as a story and a plot and the quality of acting. It was just like, yeah.
Okay, here's the thing, and I don't want Caitlin, I don't want you to think that we're picking on this movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Or put you on
Sometimes
the hot
you have
seat.
to. Yes.
But
Team Empire.
Because, I've shown movies here that I thought, like, well, obviously everyone's going to like this movie, and then they don't like it.
Yeah.
But I just want to know, what do you think is the story, or is there a story?
That's the problem, and I know
Oh man.
And it was actually going into why I like this movie, though.
You're really selling it. And Ian, why did we?
I'll wait. But what I was going to explain was just, we talked about this movie being vibes and stuff, and me, unfortunately, it's my sunglasses that I wear where if I'm going to watch this movie, I go straight for like, yeah, this is vibes.
Sure.
The problem is putting the story, and there are movies where you can tell a story that happens within a day. We've seen it happen.
Right.
We've seen successful movies where this has happened. It's just about this with how much little plot like points or like more exposition of sorts there is, and there's more emphasis on having fun. That's where it falls through because a lot of people like, well, obviously for a movie you want a good like story beginning to end type of stuff.
Right.
But when they came out with this one, they were like, no, vibes, and picture more vibes, if you will, and even more vibes. So with that, I think just the amount of plot in it, for my own sake, I can look past that. But for someone who's actually looking for like, how, I don't want to say how a movie's supposed to be, because I don't believe a movie should be set by certain guidelines. But I definitely see why some people are like, yes, cult classic in the sense that you either watch it and you're like, yeah, this is a good vibe, this was great, or you're looking at it's like, well, it was a movie. It was certainly something.
Sure.
And I can empathize with that, absolutely, because I'm actually very normal in my opinions.
Well, okay. What I'm gonna say is that whenever I criticize a movie, I try to give a recommendation of another movie that has a similar vibe.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mentioned High Fidelity, and you've seen that?
I have not seen it, but I've heard of it.
Well, we should screen it. And then another one is Clerks, which I talked about. And I don't even think Clerks is great, but I think it has a very similar vibe. Which you've seen it, right?
Again, long time
ago. But yeah, basically, guy running its convenience store, guys hanging out. Crazy stuff happens, but it just has more of an arc, I think. So yeah, maybe we'll screen it one day.
And it feels a little bit more authentic as well. Like it has more of like a genuine sort of a slack to it.
Like made by actual slackers. That's one of the differences, I think.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. Like you said, like the High Fidelity just happens to be also set in a record store, so it is same kind of vibe. But that's a bit more like I think you're talking to like more like realism, more like way better acting, obviously. But yeah, I think I saw Mallrats before Clerks. Now that I think about it, back in the day, and that's almost kind of sort of the same vibes. But all those movies, like that, just takes me back. Like that's nostalgia for me. That's growing up, my teens, my whatever's. That's I'm into those movies for that same reason. I'm not going to go back and watch those and start, like I said, that never would have won Best Picture or Best adaptation of whatever's, but yeah.
There's definitely movies that, they have a certain vibe, even like Dazed and Confused, which you haven't seen, right? Which we're going to screen. That movie, if you want to talk about vibes, holy shit, it's all about vibes. Is there a story? Not quite. There's like a thread of a story.
It's just high school.
Yeah, but there's an actual plot that's like this thin.
Yeah.
But it still carries it through a little bit. But you'll see when we screen it. But
Excited.
That's my pick for a vibe movie. Do you have a vibe movie, Ian?
Not offhand.
Okay.
Not offhand. I'll think about
Something
it
to
while
think
we ask Ryan if he has a vibe movie.
Do like little.
Depends on the mood, depends on the era, depends on whatever's. Too many questions, man. Too many questions.
Yeah, I know. We want to put you on the spot.
Who's your favorite kid?
Yeah.
It's moments like that where you can't be on the spot, where you just have to say, I think it's blank, and then insert like this little censor bit where you put a voiceover, and it's just me going, Happy Feet.
There you go. There you go.
Princess Bride. Is that a vibe movie?
No, that's got a strong.
That's like a very strong plot. I think. Yeah.
You know, I'm my vibe movie. It's also music related. It's one that we were talking about, not on the podcast, but here a couple of months ago. Head, starring the Monkees.
Oh shit. Okay, so we talked about Hard Day's Night earlier. Have you seen A Hard Day's Night?
Mm-hmm.
So Head is A Hard Day's Night for the Monkees, but it's insane. I've never seen it, but it's insane.
It is insane.
Yeah.
The music's great. There's not a story. There's no plot at all. It's just them being crazy. But it is a total vibe, and I recommend you watch it.
There you go.
You can't tell me this, and then I won't see this for many months now, because now I'm like, I want to go home and watch now. But also, you got to get that Meteor experience out here. So
Yes,
you
we
have
do.
to wait. You got to get a Meteor experience.
Every Wednesday, sometimes Tuesday, sometimes we skip it, but sometimes we might do it on a Sunday.
Maybe if we have a good enough reason to.
That's right.
I don't know if we'll ever come up with a good enough reason to do something like that on a Sunday, but we'll see.
Who knows? We'll see. But anyway, we want to thank Caitlin for picking a movie that brought out a lot of people tonight. Thank you so much.
I know. So you didn't say good movie, and I appreciate that.
It was
I'm
a
not
good
going to
pick.
say that. I'm
I
No,
appreciate
thank
it.
you
Yes,
for
but
having me.
he
Thank you for
called it a
screening
movie,
Yeah.
which is still pretty diplomatic.
I
Yeah,
also
yeah,
called
I,
it a
did call it a movie. And in brackets, it did say must screen.
Must
and it did screen on Rex Manning Day.
There
I
may have even
appreciate
been an
you.
exclamation point. I'm going to have to go back and
Yeah,
check
there
that.
might have been.
I'll
Yeah.
take a picture of it.
Speaking
Put on
of
my
Rex Manning Day, I want to thank you for dressing up in your Rex Manning Day shirt.
Say no more, Money More.
That's great.
That was good.
Yes. And I want to thank Champion for hosting Movie Night every week.
Anytime. Thank you.
All of our
And thank
episodes
you,
are
Kate.
available.
This was
yes.
fun.
Thank you.
For
I had
sure.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, all right. I'm glad you did. Yeah, it was a lot of fun tonight. All of our episodes are at comicbooksyndicate.com and youtube.com. And I guess that's it. Come on every week. And until the next time, see you later.